Hi, my name's Chris Abraham, and welcome to GerrisCast. This is episode 0. This is a testing episode where I go ahead and see how this Zoom H2 sounds and whether or not I can keep a podcast going for a little while. Ultimately, I will be recording it on Uber conferences or Zoom or someplace else so that I can have people call in and join the podcast. But I wanted to see how it would sound on my over 10-year-old Zoom H2, the original one, with the forward microphone. See how the sound quality is without doing editing. Seeing how it sounds when I upload it to Squarespace, because they've got a podcasting tool built in, and see if there's any kind of noises that invade the space, one of which I just turned off, which is the computer that I'm at. So I turn that off and we'll see how ambient noise sounds. I am making this podcast as part of my Gerris Corporation client service company that does influencer marketing, social media marketing, online reputation management, internet forensics, Wikipedia management, and even SEO and ADA compliance. We'll do everything. I like to say that we don't like being promoted above Master Sergeant because Dan Krueger, who will be my guest, my host, my co-host, and I really like doing the work. So we don't want to get promoted to general, where all we're doing is writing white papers and strategy documents and so forth. We're happy to do that. But we're happy to do those documents not at a high level, but as marching orders, if you will. This one is being done on Saturday, and it is July 8th, June 8th, 2019. But Dan and I will be doing these weekly on Wednesday mornings. We're going to be doing them as is. We're not going to be doing a lot of editing because we don't want to, and we want to get our first, 20 or so done, get them out of the way just spontaneously to see if any of you all have any level of attachment to us, if you like what we're doing, if you find us, if what we do thrills you, if you like our personality, if you like our insight, and that sort of thing. So, primarily, we're not even going to try to monetize this. This is going to be sort of an extension of a business card, if you will. We're going to be offering our experience and the people who call into us as a way of letting you get to know us so that you can decide whether you want to hire us, work with us, retain us, outsource to us. That sound is every 30 minutes for 90 seconds. I generally get up and go and do 90 seconds worth of kettlebell swings. So one thing to note is before I do the podcast, to turn off my gym boss, Run Walk Run, JeffGalloway.com workout timer. Another thing that I might want to do if there's noise is turn off the AC and close the windows. There isn't anything on the walls, so that also might make sound, reflect and sound tinny and awful, but we'll see how that goes because I'm talking directly to a front-facing mic, and it looks like it's working out okay, and I can adjust it on Audacity when I import it. Right now, I'm recording to an SD card because my my compatible USB cable isn't long enough to be able to work, so I need to get another one. I'll also see that if I turn my head away from the Zoom, whether that makes awful sounds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this and I'm going to share it with you. But I want to get maybe I'll do a couple more before Wednesday starts so that I can actually start submitting the podcast to 35, 45, 55 65, however many indices there are for podcasts. Right at the top of my head, I can think of iTunes, Stitcher, I can think of iHeartRadio, and I can think of Spotify and TuneIn. Anyway, see, that's the end of the 90 seconds right there. Got to remember to turn that off before we do the recordings because that's terrible. I've left it on during client calls all week long and nobody likes that sound. So it's supposed to sound shrill, awful, and terrifying so that I will get up and take a pretty light 35-pound kettlebell and swing it for 90 seconds every 30 minutes or an hour, depending. Sometimes I can't take every 30-minute break, but I also have other things to work out at, so maybe if I can get into the hang of it, I can do 90 seconds of ski erg or concept 2 rowing ergometer, or dips or TRX, I don't know, push-ups or squats. My business partner Dan, who you'll be meeting, I've worked with him since 2007 or 2008, 2009. It's been over a decade, and he's the most amazing first lieutenant ever. We're actually partners, but we started off as my first lieutenant, and then he became COO or CTO or CYO. But he is in fact a part-time or a full-time or whatever. When he's not working with me, he teaches and practices and coaches at a CrossFit box in Pennsylvania. So it's basically the guy with the body that Sparta would admire, and pretty much someone who's shaped exactly like Jay Sherman from The Critics. So that's who we are. Our website is www.gerr.is. I call it Gerris. But I also wanted to dance with the GIF controversy. And so you can call it Gerris or Gerris. The reason why it's called Gerris is because I've been naming things Gerris all over the place for a long time now, primarily because I fell in love when I was on the river. I used to paddle all the time on the Potomac. I fell in love with those little water striders, those little water bugs that have, and if you'll notice, I pronounce it water because my parents were from New Jersey. The water bugs, I guess I also wanted to program that into my conversation too, so I would have to say water. Water bugs have a scientific name. It is Insectogerris lacustris. And so I decided that I would name my rowing shell Gerris. And then I named my Honda XR650L Gerris on the license plate. And now I named my whole company Gerris Corp. So that's what we are, GerrisCorp.com. However, I wanted to get Gerris.com, but that wasn't available for less than $7,000. So instead, I was able to use my background as a technologist to find a way of registering an Icelandic domain name, topleveldomain.is. So I got GERR.is, and I'm very proud of that. In the same way that I was able to get, like, my last name is Abraham, Chris Abraham. And I'm sure you'll know that since there's an Abrahamic tradition and that all faith systems have, all Western, all Judeo-Christian faith systems, including Islam, have Abraham in their belief system. So it's hard to find the perfect email address such as chris@abraham.com. So I was able to find out through curiosity, creativity, and persistence and perseverance that the former Soviet Union has a top-level domain name that nobody uses anymore. Although I can't say that because British universities have this thing called student unions. And for whatever reason, it's become super popular for British student unions to use the .su domain name to signify their student union. So I attended the University of East Anglia in Norwich, and presumably Norwich or UEA or University of East Anglia has UEA.su. I don't know. Never checked it out. However, I was able to register Abraham.su. So Chris at Abraham.su. The reason why I like the SU extension is because I grew up being scared of the Soviet Union as an American, and now it's nice to own a domain name .su for historical sake, or to history's sake, or to I guess compensate for the years that I had an existential threat that nuclear bombs were going to rain on me and turn me into into dust, into less than dust, to turn me into vapor. Maybe the next test, I will tell you an insufferable amount about myself, but I think I'm out of juice right now for the first test. Thank you very much, and please, next time, consider never listening to the test podcasts for new podcasts, because they're terrible. Let me know how the sound is. I can be reached at Chris at Abraham.su or Chris at Gerr.is. I would say that's Gerr.is. Sorry, not España. Gerr.is. Gerris. Gerr.is. Anyway, I'll try not to make dumb voices like that anymore, because I do not want to be delisted for bad accents. And what will my outro be? Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Gerris Corp's GerrisCast. My name is Chris Abraham, and this is To Be Yet Dan Krueger, and we're happy to be here. We are driven by your interest, your questions, and everything you want to know. So please do not hesitate. I will make sure that comments are allowed in this Squarespace blog instance so I can answer your questions. I will also be uploading this onto YouTube. You can ask questions there. Let me know who you'd like me to interview, the kind of things you'd like me to cover, and you can follow us. You can follow mostly me on social media everywhere at Chris Abraham. But I'm going to try to spend more time making sure that Gerris Corp, and I think I also have Gerris CO somewhere, and all the other social media things are updated with this and all that other kind of fun stuff, right? I have been a little bit lax about that, but now that there's a reason to keep those update and a lot of content to provide, I'll do that too. Anyway, thank you very much, and don't forget, everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle.